Hi, Michael Steele, former chairman of the RNC. You tweeted, "We already know this is not going to be your mama or your daddy's election in November. It will not be fine. It will not be easy, but you can be smart." This is why I had to have you today, because I saw you on TV this weekend saying Democrats don't go into this like this is a conventional election, because Donald Trump will play you every time. You tweeted, you said, "Democrats, wake up. You cannot approach this election from a conventional perspective. We cannot rely on one party or one individual. It's going to take all of us." Oh, God. Yeah, right there. Okay. Michael, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. You got, the Lincoln Project, people like you. You guys have, I don't know how to say it in a nice way, you have rat bastard blood in you, and you're able to fight better than most Democrats are. And we have to, I do not want us to be Lucy with the football again, which I think is what you're warning.
I think this is something you'll appreciate given the role that your dad played, because you've seen it from that perspective. The reason why Republicans fight the way they fight is that for generations, it's been an uphill battle. We were outnumbered, outgunned at the ballot box at every turn. So you had to up your game and level up the sophistication of your engagement to deal with the fact that, people forget. Everyone's running around talking about redistricting and blaming Republicans for redistricting today. There was no complaints when Democrats used redistricting to hold the House of Representatives for 40 years. From 1954 to 1990, to 1994, when Newt Gingrich turned the table on them. 40-year control of the House of Representatives. That was done using the tools of redistricting and other powers that Democrats have. So Republicans have been in this space scrapping. So they learned how to fight. Democrats, quite honestly, got complacent. Mm-hmm. You run the table, you control the door that people come in and out of, you own the House. Hey, what else? Yeah. But now in this new environment, it's a different matter. And so you can't rely on those old tools and that old school thinking against an asymmetrical player like Donald Trump, who doesn't give a rat's ass about any of it.
I don't want us to be that Fred Willard character in Best in Show on November 4th and go, what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not legal. That's not, he didn't play by the rules.
Because that's going to be the first thing they say. You can't do that. Okay, right. Stop me. And that's and Stephanie, that's what still boggles my mind that people don't see. Every day the president stands up at the microphone, he looks into the camera and go, "You can't stop me."
Yeah.
Can't stop me.
Right. But Michael,
we can.
What you talked about when you were, and we went a little into the hate version of love-hate when you were talking about redistricting, but we'll get to that in another subsequent conversation. But that's different from where the party is now, which has become a party of just cheaters and liars and disinformation, Russian disinformation agents. They don't care how they win now, and they don't care. They actively want to keep people from voting. It
says more about your opponent than anything else. It says as much. Let's put it that way. It says as much about your opponent as anything else. When you know that you can go into that space and there aren't any consequences, really. Now, eye-opening moment for the party in 2018, losing the House. Seeing the number of women get elected to the House, which I predict will see that again this fall with a significant number of women who will get elected. That dynamic is something that the party has not really prepared for. And I don't think the Democrats are fully prepared for it either, because they make a lot of assumptions about that vote, and it's not a lock for them. They still have to lay down a predicate for why voters still need to hang their hat in their corner. But nonetheless, the dynamic politically on the ground has changed for both parties. And this is a new reality. Donald Trump has done something that I think when we look back in terms of history, we will probably appreciate a lot more 50 years from now than a lot of people do today. And that is, he took his viewers, the men and women who watched him fire people every week on The Apprentice, or hosting, beauty pageants and hanging out on page 6 of the New York Post, et cetera. So they had this relationship with him through media and through reality TV. He converted them into voters. He brought many of those players back, those people back into the political process, and they're locked and loaded with him. And that's one of his strengths. But there is a kryptonite for him. And that is, at the end of the day, as we're seeing now with COVID-19, as we're seeing with the flattening of the economy, and as we're seeing with the social unrest around race, that even those voters are not untouched, that they are touched and impacted by that.
Yeah.
And then they begin to quantify, assess, put into perspective his leadership on that. And that's why you see the numbers moving the way they are. But the Democrats, again, can't approach this just because you see those numbers moving. Joe Biden is up by 12 in July.
Oh, we all have PTSD. He could be down
by 6 in September.
No, we all have PTSD from 2016. But I wanted to get your take. Stuart Stevens, who you know, Republican consultant, his new book, It Was All a Lie, How the Republican Party Became Donald Trump. He believes the president is, quote, a natural product of the seeds of race, self-deception, and anger that became the essence of the Republican Party over the past 50 years. Trump isn't an aberration of the Republican Party. He's the Republican Party in purified form. I want to know if you agree and what your take is, because I know you tweeted a lot about your, I mean, first of all, you're voting for Joe Biden, right? Just want to get something straight here.
I'm not voting for Trump. Let's put it that
way.
Okay.
Oh my God! Are you not going to vote for Joe?
Why am I gonna? You know?
Are you still a Republican?
Well, the end of the movie now.
Are you still a Republican?
Let's have some fun.
This is come on. This is going to make the makeup sex better. Are you still a Republican? Huh?
Of course I am.
You're still a
He's
all right.
Yes.
He's going to do a write-in.
Are you doing a write-in? I'm gonna. Oh, you're
know
lucky.
Look,
you're lucky. There's social distancing because you know.
Can we just have some fun tearing up the concrete right now before we lay down a new foundation?
You know what this is becoming? You know what? This is the frog and the scorpion, isn't it? This is the frog and the scorpion, right? Like I'm right. You're the scorpion. I'm the frog, and I'm like, you're asking me for a ride across the river with you, and I'm like, but you're gonna sting me, and then we're both gonna die, and you're like, that's stupid. Why would I do that? If I sting you, we'll both die. And then we get halfway across, and then you sting me, and as I'm going down, I go, why? And you go, it's in my nature. You're gonna sting me, and not in a sexy way.
That's not what this. No, that's not. I want to get to the other side.
Okay.
Oh, and then you're gonna sting me, you bastard.
I may sting you when I get to. I may sting your ass when I get on land, but right now we're in the middle of the water, so I need you to carry me, girl. Let's go.
And not in a sexy way. He's gonna sting me. Well, at least you're honest. I mean, you said. Bill Kristol tweeted, will Republicans in Congress ignore Trump to work with Democrats on a serious coronavirus package? Will Republicans and conservatives announce they're not voting for Trump? Will Republicans and conservatives work for safe elections in November? And you said, Bill, at this point, even if we gave them the answers to the test, they'd still fail. So you're committing you're not voting for Trump, but don't you think any other vote is a vote for Trump if you don't vote for Biden? You know the game.
I know the game. I mean, look, at this point, let's just get everybody focused on the objective of what we need to do. We need to put together a battle plan. You need to execute that battle plan because the enemy in front of you is unforgiving. He's unrelentless. Is relentless. It's no secret where I am with President Trump. I didn't vote for him in 2016. I'm not voting for him in 2020. I like Joe Biden. I think anyone who's watched me for 5 minutes on MSNBC know I have long admiration for Joe Biden. I think he will make an incredibly good president at a very important time. So, yeah, I like what Joe Biden brings to the table. But,
I will bend you to my will if it kills me.
Well, but here's the thing. This is the assessment that a lot of Americans are making.
Yeah.
I have my policy differences with what some of the things that Joe Biden will be putting out there. And I think that's fair. And I think everybody will and does, even within the Democratic Party. But at this point, we're looking at the more important goal in front of us, and that is the current occupant the one who's going to get us
All
to?
Right. I agree. We're in the middle of the river. Let's focus. So you said about his delay the election tweet. You said we saw this coming, folks. This is an important omen for the country. Take seriously the threat to elections in November. It's not vote by mail. It's Trump. Michael, what is your prescription? How do we fight Russian interference, which they are going to let flow uninterrupted? vote by mail, what they're doing to the post office, other voter suppression tactics. Give us your game plan. Because look you saw this story as Trump leans into attacks on mail voting. GOP officials confront signs of Republican turnout crisis. If you were chairman of the RNC still, I mean, this is a danger to our democracy.
If I were chairman at this
point, tell us what you do. Tell us what we do.
Well, first off, let's understand that Republicans don't get elected without mail-in ballots. That's how we've won the elections that we've won in the past. I mean, this is the reality.
Thank you.
And it's Trump is wholly ignorant of that fact. Number one. Number two, Trump himself votes by mail.
Yeah.
And the fact that the president said on national television in an interview he did over the weekend, oh yeah, I like this absentee ballot, but the vote by mail thing I don't trust. Hello, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. And so that tells you where we are with the man who's wholly ignorant of our voting system and the processes that are involved there. So understanding that, informing the American people of what's real is important. Pushing the Congress to get off its ass and do the right thing. This full frontal assault on the U.S. postal system is nothing more than to undermine the processes that are going to be required and important on the back end of this to make sure not only do people get their ballots, but then when they submit their ballots back to be counted, they actually reach the Board of Elections in time. All right? Because we know if they don't get there before the election day, unless the law specifically for that state prescribes that they have to be postmarked, they can be postmarked that day, that they're not going to get counted.
So quickly before we go, you have come fully into the light due to my loving arms, and you are chairman of the DNC. What do you tell everybody right now, voters?
Take your head out of the clouds. This is not an election about policy. This is not an election about big ideas. This is an election about one thing, Donald Trump. It is a referendum on the man and his presidency. And so if that is not enough to motivate you, regardless of who Joe Biden picks for vice president, then you got your head in the wrong place. Understand what this is about. Come January 20th of 2021, who do you want standing there taking the oath of office? And if it's not anyone other than your guy, Joe Biden,
yeah.
Hello, what's your mission?
And I'm guessing
this is not complicated, people. This is not complicated.
And your advice to Republicans: get your head out of Donald Trump's butt cheek, which you
get
said
your
on
head
TV.
from underneath his left butt cheek and understand exactly what it is you're seeing and all the rest of it.
All right. Love you, Michael Steele. See ya.
Same here, Stephanie. Take care.
Bye. I love you.